fucking language, even though they're speaking the same fucking language as you and I. But like I always said, we as human beings from different regions, even in America, have different dialect than another person. So, like, I mean, for example, like, they don't use the same slang in California that they use in New York or Texas or even
Louisiana. Like from here to LA.
Yeah, it's exactly.
Different. There's different terminologies that they use for things that we've like. Yeah. Oh, what's that?
Yeah. So I mean, and it's definitely a culture shock. Yeah. And I love it. I love the fact. I love the movie. So 9. The only reason I won't give it a 10 because it wasn't long enough for me.
How long was this movie?
It's an hour and 28 minutes.
Okay.
So it really flies by, but I dig that. It kind of gets in there and does what it wants to do, and then it leaves you. You can tell that it's probably they cut some stuff.
Yeah.
I'm sure the original screenplay was longer, and maybe it would be budgetary reasons or what have you. But I think that it being fast, since it's definitely because it's like sci-fi horror-ish thriller, sometimes those movies benefit from being shorter rather than longer. Yeah. And having things being dragged out that didn't need to be, so it kind of just runs in there, gets to the point, and it gets out. And I can respect that.
I think from the beginning, it's almost, I wouldn't say action-packed, but there's always something that's happening. They're always moving, and it's not like a
I noticed that
a dialogue scene that takes 10 minutes to talk about.
I've almost chalked that up to it being like a UK film.
Yeah,
maybe their films always there's something a little off, not in a bad way, but just their style is a little different, and I feel like with this one you can tell the way that it carries itself is a little bit different than an American film.
I really like the cinematography in this.
Yeah,
like the angles that they took when they were coming up to the block or whatever, to the apartment complex, and you see the kind of camera just keep angling up and up until you can't see it anymore.
Yeah,
I thought those were really cool.
I love it.
Nice shots in this one.
Yeah, whoever was in charge of the camera work was fucking on point. So. Do we have Swan facts?
Yeah, we do. I do. I pulled some up.
Swan facts.
Swan facts. All right. So the director actually did lengthy research with adolescent kids to figure out what weapons they would use in the event of an alien invasion.
Oh, wow, that's smart.
So all of it, that's real, like real life mentality from kids. Only some subtle CGI was used in the film to heighten certain aspects, so very little CGI, mostly practical effects. The director decided on this idea after being attacked by a group of young kids.
Wow.
The director also has stated Signs is a big inspiration for the film. There were only 2 suit styles built for the aliens through this entire thing. At the time, most of the cast were unknowns and found out about the film casting calls online or through their school.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
About 15 pages of the original script were removed because of budget issues, as we were talking about earlier. The South London dialect also was heavily researched in order to be authentic on screen.
Makes sense.
Nick Frost kept his long hair originally growing out for Paul, which came out like right before this. The film happens on the night of November 5th, which is Guy Fawkes night.
Oh, yep.
Remember the
5th of November.
Director-writer Joe Cornish grew up in South London, where the film is actually set. Most of the movie was shot in 67 days.
Wow.
Most of the weed references in the film were actually herbal tobacco, which is like, it's a healthier version, which is not, Because technically, I don't think they can have.
I think it's still illegal in England.
Well, obviously, you don't want your cast to be fucking
fucking high.
Can't remember my line.
The film was actually shot in North London, although it's out in South London, or set in South London. The design of the aliens were inspired by the artwork from the popular video game Space Invaders.
Huh.
Nice.
I can see that, yeah. That's cool.
And that's it for Swan Facts.
Nice.
Yeah.
But I do actually have an interview with the director.
Ooh.
Joe Cornish, if you want to check it out.
Yeah, let's put it on, bro.
That's an alien, bruv, believe it. And I landed in the wrong place, though. You get the wrong place.
10 years ago when you thought about the idea for this movie, did you have any idea you'd be sitting here doing like press, it'd be all over the place, like screenings selling out? I mean, what's going through your mind right now? How freaked out, nervous, excited are you?
I'm really excited. I'm not too freaked out or nervous, because you're a nice guy, relaxing guy. I'm really excited. You know, the thing that I'm most excited about is the cast. We have 10 young people between the ages of 10 and 17 when we shot the movie. Hardly any of them had any on-screen experience before, and now their first movie is being distributed in America. It's being distributed internationally, and that for me is amazingly rewarding and exciting that those kids are getting that break.
Well done, lads. You discovered a species hitherto unknown to science.
Believe.
Maybe there was a party at the zoo and a monkey shagged a fish.
Yo, check it. More what? Them things.
Ah, lovely fireworks.
Nah, mate, it's an alien invasion.
Of course it is.
I'm killing them straight. Let's get tooled up, blood.
Quite sweet, really, aren't they?
I read a quote from you recently where you said that, you know, one of your favorite aspects about a movie is that when you can't tell the style of the director. Is it? I think you said something along the lines of like you like to be so embraced in the film that you don't like to recognize a style. Why is that? Because I'm a fan of recognizing certain styles of
I don't
directors.
know. I just remember as a kid, I used to go to the cinema alone a lot.
Yeah.
I used to go in a little hoodie. I used to put the hood up so nothing distracted my peripheral vision.
Right.
I used to sink down in my seat, and I just used to get so absorbed in the film. And I just like films where the style doesn't pop you out of the movie. It doesn't make you look at the surface of it, but where it absorbs you right into the story.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's just my thing, though. I mean, there are some stylish directors who do brilliantly clever things. But yeah, I just like to get really absorbed into the story, and that's what I tried to do with it.
Yeah, and what's cool is, me as a film nerd, I noticed some of your homages to like the Warriors and John Carpenter. I mean, there was like some really cool stuff you did with this movie. You know, I know this is kind of a cliche question to ask a director, but if you had a director in particular that was the biggest influence in your life growing up, who was it?
Well, probably Spielberg.
Right.
Probably E.T. I'm kind of almost the same age as the kid in E.T., so I was the same age when I saw that movie, and that really hit me squarely between the eyes. And I wanted to make a movie like that, where it fused reality, like a real kid's life, with a bit of fantasy. I wanted to make a movie like that set in my suburbia in South London, and that's kind of what Attack the Block is. But my alien wishes he'd landed in Elliot's backyard. You know?
Oh, that's different. That ain't even the same thing. That looks triple the size, blood.
Everyone run!
We need to get off the streets. Back in the block.
What kind of alien would invade some council estate in South London?
One that's looking for a fight.
What is that?
Now, speaking of South London, though, I asked this earlier. You know, I live in DC. Like, can you give me some slang that I can bring back to DC with me? I don't know. People probably look at me funny, but like, what's the best term that I could probably use?
Well, I like Moses' catchphrase in Attack the Block, which is "allow it."
Yeah,
and that's something you can say in all sorts of different circumstances to hold people off from you, to say, "Just leave me alone." Give me permission to do this, excuse that kind of thing. Right. It's multi-purpose, multiple applications, but it's nice and firm and bold and
allow it.
Like, yeah, allow it.
I'm pissing myself in it, but at the same time, this is sick.
one text left. It's too much madness to explain in one text.
We have to call the police.
You'd be better off calling the Ghostbusters, love.
My name ain't Gavin, it's Mayhem, and he's Probs.
Arthur kills us. No one's gonna ever call you Mayhem if you keep on acting like such a wussy.
Now, the 10 years ago when you came up with this idea, and now we're sitting here doing this interview, within that 10-year period before you started shooting in 2010, were there ever moments where it got so stressful you wanted to give up, but you somehow pushed through it, kept going, and look where you are now? Like, how did you get through those times, and were there ever those moments where you felt like this is not going to happen?
Yeah, there were always moments when I felt like this wasn't going to happen. I think all movies, you ride a line of the financing falling through and stuff, but man, I've wanted to do this since I was a kid, since I was 13. It's complete wish fulfillment for me. So I never got upset. It's a privilege to get the opportunity to make a film. So I'm not going to complain.
Yeah, I know.
No, I did the whole thing with a smile on my face, and I'm still having a great time.
Well, congratulations, seriously, the success.
Thanks, Kevin.
I couldn't be happier for you. Man.
Cool, good to meet you, man.
Good to meet you. And,
thanks for coming.
This is safe. Good luck.
All right, there it is.
Nice.
So, any last words on the film? Anything you guys want to talk about before we do the closing out?
Something that was really funny to me was that I could relate to was when I forget which character his name was. I think it was Dennis or something. But when he was trying to text someone, they mentioned it in the interview. It's like, this is too much madness to explain in one text.
Because I only have one text left.
Yeah, and I always remember people who I didn't have a phone until like halfway through high school, but I remember other people who had them, and they had, had minutes and stuff, and you can only send so many texts with your card or whatever. But I just remember that, and I thought that was a relatable thing that a lot of people went through.
It's crazy because over here we enjoy that unlimited text, unlimited calling, unlimited stuff. But we complain about the internet not being unlimited and shit like that. But think about the fact that there's people in Mexico and fucking in England and Spain, all over these other countries,
using cards.
They're using cards to like. I don't have minutes. I need to go put minutes. I don't have this. I don't have that. I'm like, God damn, what the fuck? Like, I only get one bill a month, and that's it.
Yeah.
And but going back to that, I actually love the fact that these guys drop blood the whole time. Like they drop the name, not the actual thing. Well, there's a bunch of blood, but like, blood. Like. That was so funny to me.
That has to be a phrase, for them.
Because they're not,
Because, they're not Bloods or anything.
Yeah. I think it might be like gangster.
Yeah.
It's like American culture's ruining other countries again.
Oh, man.
I had a thing I wanted to bring up. What did you guys think about that twist with the female? So the beginning of the film, this smaller like alien kind of shoots through our atmosphere, and it hits this fucking car next to this gang of kids mugging a lady at the same time. And then John Boyega or Moses. He's like, okay, let's fucking. He starts
ransack the car.
He starts ripping off the car, and then he sees that there's this alien or dog gorilla thing, as they like to call him, is still in there, and I think it scratches his face. He gets scared and kind of scuffles back, and then the alien takes off, and so he gets up, and his pride is hurt, and he's like, whatever that thing is, we're gonna track it down, and I'm gonna kill it. And so they do just that. They kind of corner it in this little like boathouse type thing, and light it up with fireworks, and then the boys go in, and I guess they kind of stab it to death.
Yeah,
or something?
Beat the shit out of it till it's dead.
And we don't really know what that's leading up to. until like